AITA for stopping by my daughter's house when she wouldn't respond to our calls? My 58M daughter, 24F, moved out a month and a half ago. At first, she would call and text often, and us in return. As much as we were proud of her, we missed her terribly, so it was always great to hear her voice and catch up. For the past 2 weeks or so, we have noticed she has been acting out of character. She takes a lot longer to respond to calls or texts. At first it was nearly immediately, to now 30 minutes to a few hours later. Secondly, when we talk, sometimes she sounds disinterested. She has said she is tired from her job, which I understand and can relate to, as it is nighttime when we usually call, and we are also tired from driving the long commutes when we drop off, pick up our other kids from school, university several times a week. But it is a marked difference from earlier contact. And of course, when she was at home, when she was usually more chipper. Though, my daughter is the type to get moody when she is overwhelmed. So this could be that as well. This continued on. My wife and I are not stupid. This eventually smacked of my daughter being up to something that she didn't want us to tell us about. Not necessarily something bad, but it was highly likely something was up. The other day, we were already in her apartment city doing other errands, when we thought we would swing by her apartment complex. I understand Reddit may balk at this point, but believe me when I say, 1. We never intended to go up to her apartment door, knock, or intrude in any way. We were simply driving by. Point 2. We do not have a key to her place, so we never would have or could have entered without permission. Before we did, however, our son protested at our decision. We asked him how he felt about it, and he did say it felt a little weird. I disagreed, and explained we are already in the area and we just want to make sure she is safe. We visited and ultimately did not see anything. But I want to ask Reddit about my decision. Please know I am completely coming from the position of a loving father who wants to make sure his daughter is okay, and nothing more. Edited to add, okay, people have asked what we suspected to see. Yes, she always says she is okay. But we were not born yesterday. I suspect it's a guy she is seeing right now. And one thing I suspected to see when we drove by is if a man was entering or exiting her car or place. That would explain a lot. A little honesty would be great. Op comment. She may be entertaining a man. So that is what is happening. You were trying to catch her. If you were a normal parent, and your wife too, you wouldn't be worried about this at all. If you were normal parents, she would obviously tell you she was seeing someone. You can't see and know what she is doing at all times. And it's driving you crazy. YTA. Not just for the drive-by, but for trying to downplay the real reasons your daughter is distant. Why? Because you are overbearing parents. And she is trying to create distance and put you on an info diet. YTA. Yes. At first she responded more quickly. Everything was new. She probably felt a little overwhelmed to be living on her own. Over time she has settled in. Probably has plans, whether with friends or a date. And answering while she is busy is not always convenient. Seeing your edit and still not sure why you felt the need to stop by. If it is a man, so what? She doesn't need to tell you about every date she goes on. Maybe she is waiting to see if it is going somewhere. Also, if you are this annoying about her not answering texts quickly enough, I can only imagine how insufferable you will be about a boyfriend. Edited to add the word you are looking for is expected, not suspected. Your son is right. That was a bit weird. What were you expecting to learn by driving or walking through her apartment complex? Unless you ran into her and started questioning her, you weren't going to know any more than you started with. Which is not to say that you should do that you shouldn't. Your daughter is a fully grown-up woman. You can ask her, when you talk, if she needs some help or if she's okay. If you're that concerned. But you've got to accept that she has her own life and no responsibility to give you every detail. The kind of instant response you're expecting is something lots of people aren't up to. You're only getting a delay of a few hours when I'm busy or overwhelmed. I sometimes go days before I notice I've got a text or call from my parents. She told you she's tired from her job. Why can't you accept that? Talking to you and living up to the instant response you want is clearly not her top priority right now. And that's not uncommon as people become adults and live with adult concerns and pressure. Back off. Calm down. And accept that your daughter is an adult with a life. YTA. You're right. In a way, your daughter is up to something she didn't want to tell you about. Namely, living a fully independent life as an adult away from the control of her helicopter parents. You've crossed the line between loving to controlling. She's 24, not 14. There's no reason for her to reply to you the instant you try to contact her. A few hours to wait to hear from her is nothing. My mom, who I love dearly, hears from me every few days. Not every few hours. That's entirely normal. She's an adult. Let her live her life without constant pressure from you. Your son is right. You're being weird. YTA. Dude, get over yourself. Your 24-year-old adult grown-ass daughter no longer needs you every moment of every day. Untie the apron strings and realize that your job as a parent is to develop a child that can live independently from you. Bravo. She'll call when you needs you, so stop invading in her life. YTA. You need to back off before she decides to extend this distance more permanently. YTA. Please tell me this is a troll post. You're worried because your 24-year-old daughter, who has a life, doesn't answer your texts within an hour? Please. She was not in danger. You failed to pick up on her clues. She is an adult and trying to claim her independence. Your expectations are unrealistic. You need to give her space. She'll reach out when she's ready. Let her figure out life. P.S. It is rude to drop in on someone uninvited and without calling first. Even family. YTA. Your daughter is an adult and living on her own. It is normal for adult children to move on with their life and not have their parents as the center of their universe. Maybe your daughter is just busy and has other interests and people in her life beyond you and your wife. You are trying to justify going by her apartment. A simple call to see if it was okay to swing by would have been fine, but that we need to make sure she's safe is baloney. Your son is right. You need to cut the umbilical cord and find an interest beyond your kids. ETA. Thanks for the awards. Closing parenthesis. YTA. Your daughter is responding to you. Just not in the time frame you would like. A few hours is not even that bad. If you are always this controlling, then there is a good chance that her behavior is in response to that. Also, even if she is dating someone, you are not entitled to that information. She moved out. She's an adult. You should treat her as one. YTA. A little honesty. Exclamation mark. She never lied. She is 24. She is growing up. I would back off. YTA. And after seeing the update, a bigger one, let your daughter enjoy her sex life in peace. Holy cow. In a few years you will be complaining because she won't be providing you with grandkids. Guess how they come into existence? Let her breathe. Please. She's not a baby you can helicopter parent over anymore. YTA. And I would highly recommend you listen to the adults who, like your daughter, had controlling and overbearing parents who assumed they knew best and needed all the info, then end up with little to no contact ever again. YTA dude, she's 24. It's actually none of your business. YTA. Seems like helicopter parenting of a grown adult and is ridiculous. Who cares if she's seeing a guy? Stop being so nosy. Let her have some independence. You're pushing 60 and seem to have forgotten she's in the prime of her life now. What do you expect? She won't want to date? This eventually smacked of my daughter being up to something that she didn't want us to tell us about. Not necessarily something bad, but it was highly likely something was up. Dear God, do you have any actual proof that something is up? Have you asked her if anything is up at all? Your daughter is 24 years old. She's an adult living on her own now. I understand it takes some getting used to for you as parents. But once your kid moves out, it's 100% normal for them to be less in touch with you. Of course she's gonna call and text less often. Of course she's not going to return your calls within minutes. She's an adult. She's got her own responsibilities and a life apart from you. She will call you when she has the time. Her not calling back immediately does not mean she's unsafe. Feel free to put a little more trust in your daughter. She's old enough to make her own decisions and live her own life. And for the love of God, do not show up to her house uninvited ever. Period. Unless there is an immediate emergency. You have no business there. As much as that sucks to hear. Your daughter's got her own life now. Let her live. YTA. YTA. You went to check on her not because you're worried about her immediate safety but because you think she's keeping secrets from you. Those aren't secrets. That's just her private life that she doesn't want you to know every detail of. And you drove by to see if you could catch her with a man? What? You're so nosy you drove by her place to see if her mood was due to boy trouble. That's crazy. If you want honesty, this is not the way to get it. If she is dating some guy that's causing this, you don't know about him because he wasn't important enough to introduce him to the family. She's going to date people and she's not going to tell you the details. She's old enough to be dating around, where she's seeing people for a few dates or few weeks but one of them breaks things off because it's not the right relationship. This is healthy and normal. YTA clearly smothering her, and now that she got her freedom she is distancing herself to get some space. I have parents and siblings like you, and they are about 85% of the reason why I choose to live 2,900 miles and 3 time zones away from them. If she needs you, she knows where to find you. You didn't need to go checking up on her. YTA. YTA. Knock it off. Who she sleeps with is not your business. What were your plans if you had met someone coming or going from her property? YTA. She's a 24-year-old adult. Leave her alone. If she's up to something she doesn't want to tell you about, that's entirely her right.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.